Yay! We
Hello,
successfully
everybody.
did it. Hello. Yeah, our first go around last week was a little rougher because we're still trying to learn the StreamYard, Facebook Live, all that fun stuff. So we are live and ready to rock. Welcome to episode 2.
Woohoo! Didn't take us
Jessica,
30 minutes to get here.
tell us about the weather. I hear it is snowing where you're at.
Yes, we had, gosh, when did this all come in? Saturday, I guess, started actually like sleeting and just, like not really snowing yet. It was just ice everywhere. And then overnight, we got snow into like most of Sunday. So we were in like a little winter blizzard, craziness. And I don't think it's gotten above, I think today has been the warmest and says it's 31 right now. Most of the whole weekend we weren't getting above like double digits, so it just keeps refreezing. And it's been a great old time.
Oh my gosh. Now, before we hopped on this, everybody, Jessica and I were talking about the weather. And here where I live, Arizona, this has been the first time it's actually felt cold all winter. It was probably 80 degrees a few days ago, and now some freeze thing came in and it was 30 degrees, and I'm not used to that. My blood is thin, people. So yeah, weather is crazy. I think some of the other things we were talking about before hopping on here was just our hearts, our prayers, our thoughts go out to people in California dealing with the fires right now. It's awful. Been following it on the news. I know this is a topic we could dive down the rabbit hole about, why there's issues, around people having dropped coverage, how hard it is to find insurance in California right now. So also just shout out to any of the agents dealing with that out there. I know you or any agents licensed in California. I'm sure you've got a lot happening right now. So sending good energy your way for sure.
Yes, cannot imagine being in that situation right now.
Yeah. And it just points back to why we do what we do, right? And I think that is our topic for today. We wanted to chat about how there are definitely days, there's weeks, there's months, there's years that are hard, right, in this industry. And I've learned to reframe it as the word challenging instead of calling something hard, right? I think just giving it that label can have a lot of negative connotations around it. This week specifically has been challenging for me in the feeling like I need a clone. I find myself saying that a lot. I need a clone, and here I am thinking, oh my goodness, I need to get better at delegating. So the cool part about this week, a big win for me, is I'm bringing on a new producer. So I've been onboarding him this week. It's been extremely exciting, and also excited to be able to, give some leads to someone else and take a little bit of that pressure off, some of the other team members.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about this last week, but just knowing when to ask for help and the delegation is huge. And it's, in the end, it's going to help you so much more when you have somebody else to take on some of your work, and then allows you more time to work on other things and more efficiently. But it just getting there feels like the difficult part. So.
Sure. Yeah. And I think we were also talking a little bit about time management as well. You said you've got some big things happening. You're super excited, just trying to figure out how to fit it into the calendar.
Yes. So I'm going to have a little bit more time on my hands here soon, which is obviously going to get dedicated, to my work. But we're excited we've had a VA now for, gosh, maybe close to a year. But we actually just got a different VA. And so now we're having to kind of teach her everything. She started right in December when holidays and stuff were happening. So she started, but also at the same time, we didn't really get a chance to dive into training and all of that stuff. So really the rest of this month is going to be focused on what jobs can we give her to make our lives easier, teaching her those things, making sure that she's, really great at everything that she does. She's been great so far. And so really working that in, finding time to train her, finding time to take on more time for cold calling, which we love. Love-hate relationship with that, but excited to see where that's going to take us. And just, I don't know, finding like a good flow of everything. So it's kind of hard when I'm such a type A, like need to have a good agenda. I'm a visual person. And so really trying to figure out how to do all of that with all of the different aspects of what we deal with in a day.
I love it. I love that. I think
Yeah.
the cool part about being visual is you can probably put it on your calendar. Do you color code your calendar at all?
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
It is a must for me. And even we have, like our CRM will give us like tasks or whatever. And I'm like, I can't deal with that though, because if the notification comes up and tells me, hey, you have this today, I can easily like swipe that away and then it's gone to me and I like will forget. And so I'm almost old school of like, I need pen and paper right in front of me at all times to be able to like, hey, so and so called to do this, writing it down. And when I complete that task, I will cross it off, kind of thing.
Love it.
So, yeah.
I think that's really good to bring up because I think no wrong answers on how you do your follow-ups or how you do your tasks, right? As long as it works for you. You know, there's some people that, to your point, love the actually writing it out and making a to-do list. If we
Mm-hmm.
have anybody in the group, comment if you love checklists. I've been known to be someone that I'll add something that I just did to the checklist just so I can check it off. It's something so satisfying about, oh yeah, I got that done.
It makes you feel more accomplished when you do that.
Yes.
No, I love that. Or even if anybody has any suggestions on how to do things a little different too. I am still pretty new to all this. So just any suggestions of ways to be so much more organized, I will take it. I need all the
Yes.
advice.
So it's funny. I used to call myself somebody that like wasn't organized or I didn't like the details.
Mm.
And till someone pointed out the fact that I use spreadsheets for everything. And it's not even for numbers. That's what's interesting too, is it I mean, I'll use spreadsheets for, projections maybe, but I use them for tasks, I use them for goals. So back when I had my old agency, I was partnered up with a real estate company. They came from Keller Williams. So anyone in this group, if you are from the real estate world and you're familiar with Keller Williams, you're probably familiar with what I'm about to talk about. They have these goal setting programs that they coach called a GPS and a 411. And essentially what that is high level, it's breaking down your main goal into 3 priorities, and then you got 5 tasks per priority. So that's the 135, that's the GPS. And it helps you attack a big goal by chunking it down into little things. So it makes it a lot more digestible and it helps with delegation because there might be some tasks within said priority 1 that oh, so and so can take care of that while I'm doing task number 2. So it helps you visually lay out how to accomplish something. And the 411 is essentially it's a personal, professional, financial goal, which I'm sure a lot of people on here are familiar with the PPF system, where you list your professional goals. So maybe it's, I want to build my business up to, we'll throw a number out there, $1 million in revenue or more. And I always add the plus or more. That way you're not limiting yourself, right?
Yes.
So $1 million in revenue or more. Personal goal, I want to do a fitness show this year. Financial goal, maybe I want to pay myself a certain amount of income. And what you do is you list these goals and you break it down into an annual goal, monthly goal, weekly, all the way down to daily. So you know what your daily activities are. And that's been a huge game changer for me because you can use it in anything that you want to accomplish. Like you can use it in a workout schedule. If there's a certain, for any weightlifters in here, if there's a certain weight you want to lift, you can work backwards and plan your workouts daily to hit those goals. So spreadsheets have been amazing. You can color code them. You can turn them into a checklist. I actually have a spreadsheet with different tabs specifically for my goals, for the to-do list, and sometimes just for like random thoughts, just, oh, I felt creative. Here's a good idea. Revisit it later.
I love that. See, I feel like I have different notebooks than for this. So I'm like I'm computer savvy, but I feel like again they just get lost. So I love the spreadsheet idea. But I'm such a I have a little journal upstairs that if I randomly think of something or, just hear something that I, want to write down and make sure I have for later, I'll like jot it in there. Or I have this little, one of my goals, if you will, for this year was to write in my little 5-minute gratitude book every day. And so just having something physically to write down for those. I used to have like a physical planner and I've kind of gotten away from that, but I almost wonder if I like still would benefit from that a little bit. But one thing I did get, our Christmas present to ourselves this year, was a skylight calendar. And it
Ooh.
is amazing.
Tell me about this calendar. I think I know what you're talking about, but I want to make
Yeah.
sure everyone else knows what that is.
Yeah, so it's a digital calendar. It is not cheap, but it was worth it in my opinion. My husband might say otherwise. But it syncs everything. So whether you have like Google, Outlook, Gmail, like whatever calendar that you're using already on your phone, it will all sync together. So instead of having to, like before, if I had something that, we both had to attend, or even just so that we know like who's where at each time, I would invite him to the event then that I put on my calendar. But with this, it all syncs. You can all see it on the same place and you can color code it, which is great.
I need this.
There's a chore chart. So like you could use it as, like a to-do if you wanted, but as kids get older and stuff, a chore chart's great. They can do that
I thought you were giving your husband chores.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Honey-do list. Yeah, we have the grocery lists are on there. There's a meal planning thing that we've been using. So I'm sure there's probably other like stuff that like it's still pretty new to us. So I'm sure there's probably other things that it's amazing for. But so far I think it's great. And again, it's a big visual in our kitchen that I can see at all times. And then when it's not being used, it has a photo screensaver. So that's really cool too.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm going to add that to the cart. This sounds amazing. Because I'm very visual. I like things that are very, very colorful, very pretty, very aesthetic, real talk. And anyone else want to chime in on this too? I get excited when I log into a carrier and it's laid out nicely and looks pretty. I'm going to do a quick shout out because most of you know I used to be a rep for Openly, and real talk, I loved Openly also because their system literally looked pretty.
It does.
Yeah, it's purple. Yep, it's purple. It looked pretty. So shout out to Openly and their designers and making it look really nice. And there are some other, carriers that are starting to update their stuff and also looking super aesthetic. I also chose CRMs based on aesthetics and user ease. So
nice.
Yeah,
you're so much more likely to buy something when it like looks good, or like the cover of a book or a movie.
Yes.
Like if one
I
looks
have been deceived.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what's a good movie you've watched recently?
Oh, I'm trying to think now. I feel like we just started a new show.
Oh, what show?
Oh my gosh, it's gonna like get away from me now. Landman. It has Billy Bob Thornton in it, and it's kind of similar to Yellowstone. Like the way it's played out and stuff is very similar. So we're only like maybe 3 or 4 episodes in, but it's pretty good so far.
That's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find a show to watch. I'm one of those that I don't watch very much TV. In fact, I didn't even own a TV until my grandma lived with me for a short bit and she gave me her TV.
Oh.
So I'm one of those that when I do hear of a show and I start watching it, I end up like binging it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So this is gosh, when was this? This was right after COVID because we were back in the office. So this had to have been maybe 2021. I came into the office like just dead tired. I'm like zombie walking in, right? And everyone's like, what the hell's wrong with you? I was like, oh, I just watched season 4 of Game of Thrones. And they're like, oh, cool, you finished the last episode? I'm like, no, I watched the entire season last night. And they're like, what the heck? Gosh. So each day I'd be coming in like half awake and they're like, you all right? And I'm like, I just finished season 5. So you guys ready for this? I watched the entire 8 seasons in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
But it was
that
amazing.
Is one I've never actually seen.
It took me years to watch it, and I don't know if it's just because it looked like it was such a long series or
Like a
what, but
commitment.
it is, and heck yes, it was absolutely a commitment once I got into it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so and same thing with movies, like, it's gotta be a really grabbing trailer to make me wanna
Mhm.
go and watch it.
Yes.
Amazing. Well,
TV
t
can be
just
a time suck. Yes, it can.
yes. Yes, it can. So to circle back to what we were talking about originally about just things feeling challenging is I love I love that we've been talking about kind of the why we do what we do. The California fires are, an example of that. We in the insurance industry, we have the ability to help people. And I think sometimes that can get lost on us, especially when you're caught up in the daily grind and you're trying to figure out what button to click in the next carrier site or do I want to use this premium finance company or this one? You're starting to think about all these things, and what's really helped for me was knowing your values around work in general, and also like knowing your mission. Everyone call it your why. If you guys
Mhm.
are familiar with Mick Hunt, he calls it your because, whatever you want to call it, the thing that keeps you driven. And I don't always say motivated because, as you know, there's days that you don't feel motivated. You just kind of suck it up and you figure it out. But the days that keep you driven, what is feeding that? And what's really helped me dwindle that down was working with a coach or a mentor. I remember there's been days where I was physically in tears, just ready to quit. And I say days because it was more than once. And anyone listening, starting from scratch or owning any business, doesn't even have to be insurance, any business. Owning a business, there are days where you're just like, what am I doing? Why am I here? I want to leave. Let's just blow this entire thing up, set it on fire again, and then I don't know, just what are the other crazy things you could think of to do it? The actually, it's funny that the coach that I actually learned NLP from tells a story about he coached this business owner that said he wanted to set his business on fire and then pee on it. Like that's how bad he just wanted to get out of it. Ended up
Oh no.
and that guy ended up turning it into like a billion-dollar real estate business. And the way they did that was literally just figuring out his values around it and making sure that all the actions he does for himself with his team are all aligned with what that is. So again, we can call it your why, your mission, whatever you want to label it as. It's being clear on that and reminding yourself of it, whether it's a spreadsheet that you pull up every day or a background on your phone, whatever you need to be reminded of it, is what's really helped me.
Yeah, I think everybody, like you said, in this industry or just in anything in general, has probably been there. And I know that we have, especially with just, starting up and everything. And there are days where, I left a full time job that I knew had a paycheck coming for, 8 years. And there were days, even, now where I'm just like, what did I do? Like, like, do I go back? Like, and then you have to kind of like reset yourself of like, why am I here in the first place? Why did I want to leave that job? I wanted the freedom. I wanted the flexibility. I want the opportunities that come from this, job. And, it does kind of bring you back to your why, because it's kind of thankless. As was my other job, but the days where you see the reasons that you are there are what make it worth it. And going back to what you said too about just having a coach or mentor when you're kind of in the trenches and you have somebody lifting you up of like, remember why you're here. Remember, what's going to get you forward. Joe says your house of dreams. Like,
Yes.
why are you doing what you're doing? Like, it's whether it's for your family or for yourself or financial freedom, whatever it is, you have to kind of remind yourself and put yourself back in place of like, there's going to be hard days. But there's a reason that we're here in the first place.
100%. I love that. House of Dreams. Talk to me about the House of Dreams.
Oh, I'm probably going to butcher this.
So, no.
Joe,
sorry, put me on the spot.
No, it's fine. Joe did this when we very first started. I think he does it with like every new agent or anybody who comes to work with him. But has you go through your house of dreams. And so it's on a whiteboard visual, and kind of shows you just like from the beginning, your why. Essentially, it's a big visual of your why. Like, what are you working towards? What are your goals? And then how do you get there? How big is your, in a way, like how big is your house? Like, do you want it to be here, or do you want to be here? And kind of like that glass ceiling of like never capping yourself either, allowing the goal to always get bigger and bigger.
I
You can
love
correct
that.
me if I'm wrong on anything.
No, and you painted the picture for us perfectly around that. I think that's a great thing for people to remember and something to revisit, right? Because as we grow, our goals grow. And what's really interesting, I think we talked about this last podcast too. I found my old journal from when I first started Everything Insurance back in 2018. And I saw my financial goals and I said, okay, I wanted 5 full-time agents. I want to be making XYZ amount of dollars. And there was something else in there. I keep saying this. I'm going to bring this next time so I can read it verbatim. Even the money. I'm not. I want to be super transparent about it. Like, I was excited to make $3,000 in a month. Like that.
Mhm.
That was huge for me.
Yep.
That changed my life at the time. And to look back on that and go, holy shit, I hit all of those goals and exceeded them, and life looks so much different now, was such an empowering feeling. And
Mhm.
I enjoy showing that to new agents or even people that I bring on board of like, this is where I started. This is exciting. And the cool part is I've done it. And the beautiful thing is if someone else has done it, regardless if it was me, Joe, anyone else, right? We can model them and do it as well. We just need to figure out what were the steps that they took, do it verbatim, and become that. Just like you see, a great way to explain that is like you see like athletes every year. They keep getting faster. They keep getting better. It's because they're modeling someone else before them and then just doing it that much extra. And I believe that we're going to continue to see that both, in this industry, in sports, just because if you can figure out how to model somebody and like down to what are they thinking before they make this decision? What feeling is coming up before they do XYZ, and actually learn their strategy around those. Like that's how closely you have to model it. There's a lot of books out there that talk about, the secrets of the successful. They have morning routines. They have this. There's a reason, right?
And they don't stop. They reached success and they continue to learn and like perfect what they're successful at. That's
Yes.
how, or, in our case, like you continue to have more businesses and, just keep growing and growing so that you're never at that plateau. We talk like, I know we've talked about, some people are okay with that, like reaching that glass ceiling of like, okay, I'm at this point of where, hey, I'm making $3,000 a month. That's great. I'm happy with that. That's a goal I wanted. And I'm just going to sit and cruise there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's perfectly fine. But to kind of be, in that elite, I guess you'd say, is you're going to keep going. You're going to keep, okay, I got to this point. Like, how do I keep implementing that so that I'm continuing to move forward? I'm making more money. I'm making good choices. I'm also then teaching this to other people so that they know how to be successful and, make their businesses. And yeah, I don't really know where I was going with that, but
everything that you said, I think, is what drives both of us. Otherwise, I don't think you would have said it. Is the beautiful thing about this industry, and I'm going to always preach on that one because we're obviously speaking to insurance agents, but I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for insurance. And exactly what you just said is there's so much room for growth because it's unlimited, and you can help other people do it as well. And now you're creating opportunities for people to also grow.
Yeah.
And everyone deserves that. I think if I could leave us with a message today is like, you all deserve that growth and you all deserve to be able to learn more, to earn more, what else rhymes with that? I feel like I was onto something there.
Learn.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Burn more calories. Let's go. 2025. Yes. But I love that. Success is one of those things, like, for me, I feel like you'll never arrive. It's a consistent pattern of how can I get better?
Yeah.
And even if you have mastered whatever pillar you're at, what are the ways you can branch and, now create a wider net for whatever you're doing. Sometimes people decide to go back to school. I've been playing around with the idea of going back to school, and looked at my calendar, went, well, I'm gonna have to get really creative on how I will do that.
Your time
And
management.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Cool part about school right now is, like, there's so many things that are online.
Mm.
You also don't have to go back full time. It's things you can do. I'm looking forward to it because now I can do it I want to say for fun, but obviously there's a goal at the end of it. But it won't feel as pressured as it was like when we were in high school.
Yes.
High school was weird. Like,
Let's not go back and do that.
right? Yeah, just kidding.
No. No, I think going back to what sort of bringing in like the why and just, how many opportunities are in this industry. It's funny when my husband called me at my job one day, I knew I wanted to leave. I knew I wanted to do something different. And he kind of called me up, and he was already in the real estate world. So I knew that he was kind of toying around with like something else to do. And he was like, what would you think about getting your insurance license? And I think at the time I very much was like, why? Like, because I didn't understand my why. I went into what I was doing because I wanted to help people.
Mhm.
And so selling insurance to me was like, well, how's that helping people? You know what I mean? And then, we decided to take the leap, and we did it. And now, I mean, it's taken a little bit, but I see that now that you still can help. And, just talking about with California and everything, when I have a client that is like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for your help. You've been amazing. Like, those are those times where I really remember, like, this is why we chose to be here. And you can make a difference, just selling insurance. You're still making a difference in somebody's life. We're insuring essentially their biggest assets of what's important to them, and making sure that they're covered when devastation happens or anything like that. Then it just is so worth it, and it kind of puts you back in your place again of like, why am I here? Why am I dealing with the BS that happens most days? Because those those clients that do thank you and appreciate you and kind of remind you why you're here is what makes it just so worth being here.
Exactly. And I love everything that you said, because when we as agents remember that, it helps us counteract the people that come to us that are like, insurance is a scam. How often do you hear that? That just happened to me today. That's why
time.
it's the top of my mind right now. It's a good friend of mine as well that had such a bad experience with insurance that he has this perception that insurance is out to get him. And I think with us being able to tell stories of where there's been good experiences, and also providing value to people in ways outside of just giving them a policy, helping them get, oh gosh, it just made me think of this really cool story. Back when I was an AmFam agent, yes, I was captive at one point, everybody. Back when I was an AmFam agent, I had a gal who was having a really hard time paying her bill. And I asked her, I'm like, hey, don't mind me prying, just wondering, like, are you okay? Like, what's happening? And she broke into tears and said, I just lost my job. I'm like, okay, well, it's a good reason why you're having a hard time paying your bill. And I stopped her and I was like, hey, what kind of job are you doing? Are you looking for work right now? Like, what would be a good job for you? And she's like, I love admin. I love customer service. And for the next couple of hours, I went and called some of my contacts in the HVAC world, because they're always looking for people to add their team. So that particular industry is always growing. So called a couple of my HVAC guys and got her a job interview, and she ended up getting hired.
That's amazing.
And I remember the reason I was able to do that was I made it a point to stay connected and learn about the different people in my community, even if I didn't do business with them directly, is just knowing who's out there, because you
Mhm.
never know when you might have an opportunity to refer them or to connect them with somebody. I think
Yes.
that's one thing that's really cool about this group, the Insurance Syndicate, is I watch the posts, and even though we're all in the same industry, you could say we're competitors against each other, but it's amazing how many referrals go back and forth. It's
Mhm.
amazing how many connections happen, and I want to give a shout out to that, because it when you have that mentality, one, people keep coming back to you, and two, you have those opportunities to help people that wouldn't have been there if you hadn't gone out of your way to do that.
Yeah. I feel like networking makes this industry run. I mean, like just knowing all the people that we've met from starting. And like you said, like we kind of are competitors with each other, but then we're also there to lend a helping hand all the time. And so
Mhm.
it's just amazing to see that teamwork, even though, it's like you're going against each other, but you're not. You're there to help everybody rise up to the same level instead of just saying, "Oh, nope, I'm on my own." Like, I'm not going to help you. So I love that, and just learning. I mean, that's how we met, was through networking, and just it's just amazing to see it all come together in the end, and how much opportunity there is in that.
Exactly. And I wish, gosh, this is gonna sound super kumbaya, but stick with me, people. I wish there was like a tagline or something that we all could get behind around changing the narrative around insurance.
Mhm.
Because I mean, regardless of what industry, you could you could use any label, religion, politics, industry, whatever. There's always gonna be great ones, maybe not so great ones, right? Let's change the narrative and help those not so great ones be greater. And gosh, I feel like I'm putting myself in a corner here. Hold on. Let me backtrack real quick. Hold on. Make America great again. Let's go, everybody. Make insurance great again. But
Yes.
seriously, that's what I'm getting at, is how do we help each other become a strong industry where there's collaboration? I love competitiveness. Let's stay competitive. That's what makes us better,
Yes.
right? Is that's what allows us to look for our areas of growth and lean on each other for that. And I think if we can do that together as a collective and change the perspective on what everyone else sees us as, whether it is someone that thinks insurance is a scam, or perhaps they feel that they're just a number, or insert the blank here, right? We
Mhm.
all, as independent agents, have that power to change that. Someone
Yeah.
just
And I think,
commented MIGA.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
Hey.
just like we're going to start something with that. It's the little things too, of even like, texting a client. Like the other night, somebody needed help and they have my personal cell, which when we first started, I gave out my number. So there's a handful of clients that have like my personal cell phone number. Um, and it is what it is. But I was texting her like late the other night and I ended up helping her with something. It's even just those little things of like, communicating after hours, or just having a conversation on the phone, other than, oh, well, just talking policy or just talking, business. How are you today? Like, what's going on? Or if somebody sounds frustrated, like going through that with them, and, you know, kind of almost humanizing them again, so that they're not a number, they're not just another client, they're somebody that you are essentially caring for as a person, and knowing that you're there.
Mhm.
So I think it is frustrating when people have had bad experiences. Like we personally years ago had a bad experience with our insurance company that we were with. And it
Mm.
is what it is. And you have to have that mentality of like, well, just because one person, may have not done their job very well, or, whatever it was, the circumstance, that doesn't all of a sudden make all insurance agents, all insurance companies, bad at their job. It's just, you're going to have issues, and giving everybody else kind of a second chance to show you something different.
Yes, exactly. I love that. And I think a great way to combat that with clients is having a really good pre-frame when you're getting into business with them, is letting them know, here's what to expect from me.
Mm.
What are your expectations of me? And also leaving room for grace, like we're human. I know we use a lot of AI technology. We use a lot of really cool stuff that help us mitigate errors.
Yes.
However, I remember I worked with a gal at State Farm a long time ago, and I remember she would always tell me, "There's nothing we can't fix, as long as you catch it." And what she meant was, we are human. There are things that, we may get feedback that we didn't do a good job, but the beautiful thing is we can go and fix that. And, given the opportunity, we can ask for feedback from clients. Like the agents that are doing surveys right now to their clients, kudos to you. Like how will we know if we're not doing a good job unless someone gives us that feedback? So I actually celebrate the bad feedback, because now we're like, okay, someone was honest enough with us to tell us. Now we have a chance to make it better and decrease the chances of that happening again.
Yes, I love that. Something I learned really early on, and it was really hard for me, was that being honest is the best policy. And sometimes you have to let people know, like, hey, I messed up. And so when we first started, I mean, not that it hasn't happened recent, but like, I'm only a year and a half into this, so I'm still learning as I go, and having to tell clients like, hey, I'm so sorry, like this was my bad, I messed this up. And I learned that like being honest about me messing up and then trying my best to fix it versus like lying about it, because I could just make something up and say, oh, so sorry, like this happened. The honesty got me so much further with the client that it made me feel so much better about being honest about it. It's like they see you then as human, like, hey, you messed up. Are you going to have the people that are kind of mad at you sometimes? Absolutely. But I feel like more often than not, they were very understanding. And it, like, again, just kind of humanizes like who I am as an agent. And so I definitely have learned to just be honest with them. Hard news is hard to give. And, you don't want to do it, but in the long run, it is just so much better for the situation.
Absolutely. There's that saying that every day, first thing you should do is eat the frog. So if you have a hard conversation, you got to get out of the way. Get that out of the way first, and the rest of your day is just going to be so much easier.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
And I love that. I respect that too, because think about a situation that maybe you've ever been in where someone messed an account up or messed up. Maybe you're at a restaurant and they messed up your order. If they come back with a solution and and also take ownership of that, like that goes a long way and can also save them coming back, because they're like, oh, this person's trustworthy. They let me know what was happening. There was a solution, at least I know what to expect going forward.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm reading the comments as we're chatting as well. This is awesome. All righty. MIGA. Yep. We're gonna coin that if it hasn't already been coined. Thank you very much.
We'll make hats and t-shirts.
Right? Amazing. Yeah. And like it goes back to just having this collective idea of, what we do and reframing the purpose of, our intention of why we do what we do. Like for me, what was really cool is I was working with a coach recently, and I found out that my top value here, I am thinking I am a money motivated person, so I don't want to discount that. I love making money, but the most important thing to me when it comes to the area of career was kindness. And it actually shows up in a lot of areas of my life. Is in business, we're doing it with the intention of being kind, of being helping somebody. If you're doing it from a good place in your heart, it's going to show up that way. You're going to show up confidently that way, and you will never have to second guess, what that other person is thinking, because you're just showing up. So this is what I do, why I do it, and this is what I'm about. So kind of what you were just talking about, Jessica, about showing up and telling the truth. Like that's when you're living in your truth. This is getting deep. Oh my gosh. You ready, guys? When you're living in your truth of why you're here, doing what you're doing, like other people will see that and want to be a part of it too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that.
Sweet. I'm going to go look up this board now that you're talking about. Please remind me what that's Skylight?
The Skylight calendar.
Oh my gosh. Everybody, this looks amazing. Yeah. So I'm going to order a calendar because I'm also very visual, and it sounds like it helps your household as well see what's happening.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's going to be really good. It better be, because I have to make the purchase worth it too.
I think that's great. I would love to get I don't know is he in this group? Is Grant Botma in this group? If not, someone tell Grant. There was a speech that he did one time at some insurance event years ago that he talks about how him and his wife have a shared calendar. And I remember some people kind of, went, whoa, what? Like it was a bad thing. The reason that they did that was so it allows their household to run better. Especially as a business owner, and especially for you guys working in the same business together. Yes. Like how important it is to know when's the kid's appointment, what days are the kids out of school. I remember that's a huge deal for any parents listening. When your kid's out of school, now you're like, okay, well, do they come to work with me? Do I plan something for them if we're remote? Like that, those things are so important to be aware of. And especially if you have a support partner in that, making sure everybody's on board.
Yes. Now I feel like we constantly are asking, like, do we have anything this day? Like, what's going on at this time on this day? Like, because, if I'm going to schedule something on my own, I need to know, like if our daughter's here, like, I need to know that my husband's going to be here to watch her, or vice versa. Or that we're not scheduling, two very important things at the same time on the same day. And so it's very important to just have that, like, visual, okay, he has something on at this time, so I'm not going to do it, at that time. And it just makes things run, I feel like, so much smoother and
amazing.
Definitely important.
Well, this has been a cool one. I'm excited. We keep getting better and better.
Yay.
Anybody listening, drop in the comments if there's any particular topics you'd like us to dive into. I know one of the things that we were talking about before we started the podcast today was about the new FCC rules. I saw that someone had posted about that. Going to get a little bit of research done on that so we can speak with some factual data behind that, and also help everybody. And if there's something that you guys know about it, please drop that in there and share the knowledge. It goes back to the whole topic today, knowing that there's challenges in this industry that we're all facing together. And how cool would it be to be able to help each other? Like there's enough business for all of us is what I love to say. And it's true. There's billions of people out there, and how much business can we write in a day, right? So this has been awesome. John said it's a shit show. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, he said smoother being the keyword. Yes.
Oh, I see. Oh, I forget. Yeah, for you guys, I forget that the Facebook is a little bit delayed, so his comments are to what we were talking about 5 minutes ago.
Yes. To be fair, though, I'm going to throw him under the bus. A lot of the times, if he asks about something, I put it on the calendar. He just doesn't look at it.
Yo. All right. So to sign off, everyone, look at your calendars, review your why, and we will see you next time.
Yes.
Awesome.
See, we need a sign off. We
do need a sign off. Help us with the tagline.
Make insurance great again.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.